Time for Bomber Banter. Now over to Fiona.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bomber Banter. It is team selection night for our round 18 game against the Tigers again at the MCG Saturday night. Deja vu, here we are again playing the Tigers for the second time before we play GWS, Sydney or St Kilda. That is how this professional Australian Football League rolls. So we will just roll with it, shall we? How is everyone? Congratulations, you've made it to Thursday. The footy's on, Bomber Banter is on. You just have to get through Friday for most of you, and then it is the weekend. Who have I got with me? Brett, Jade, how are you? Hey, Moby, Adam. Hey, Mick. How are you all doing? I dare say there's going to be some happy campers here tonight, right? The team selections, which we will go through in a second, are looking pretty good. We've played Sydney. Oh, my God, I'm losing my mind, Moby. That's why you're here, because you don't let me get anything wrong, and I love it. You keep me accountable. You're right. We played Sydney, and we won, and I was there for that game, and I watched it, and I also did fan cam, so I really should know this stuff. But as you can imagine, there is so much going on in this mind of mine over the past couple of months, so thank you for keeping me accountable, Moby. Appreciate you so very much. Hey, Isaac, how are you? I'm loving the fact we have selection pressure now. It's been a while and it's honestly great. Already showing good list building. Yes, it is. All right, that's a brilliant segue. Let us go through the changes, starting with ours. In comes back Mason Redman, Elijah Sardis and Oscar Smart, who is in for his debut. We'll talk a bit more about that in a sec, but how exciting. Out, Archie Perkins, Jai Caldwell, Jay Gresham. Poor Jai Caldwell has gone under the knife. Who knows if he will be back? Probably not even necessary to get him back this year, right? What do you think? Should we just bench him until November? In for the Tigers. They've made some big changes. In comes Jaden Short, Jacob Kazitsky, Taj Houghton, Tyler Young, and James Trezise. I don't know if I said that right. Out goes Jacob Blight, Hugo Ralph Smith, Sam Laylor, Jasper Algar, and Noah Bolter. They also have a debutant in Taj Houghton, so congratulations to him. And also congratulations to Nick Bloston on 250 games. Absolutely wonderful. You would say that only the best, really, or the best of the best get to that number these days, given the difficulty and the strain that AFL football puts on these guys' bodies. So well done to Bloston there. Yes, you're right, Brett. Yeah, you can correct me whenever I'm wrong. No probs at all. You're right. You're absolutely right. We've played them, but we definitely haven't played GWS and St Kilda, right? So that I know I have. This is going to be a quick one tonight, guys. I am going to be jumping on with Chris from Big Footy Tiger Cast over on his channel to chat about our game. So we're going to do a quick one tonight. Anybody wishes to come on for a chat, please do. There is the link in the chat. Any newbies or oldies wanting to join me, that would be right. But let's chat through some of these comments. Jade, what do you got? Finally, Archie Perkins has been dropped. Thank goodness. Glad that James Gresham has been too. They had to be. Glad to see Sardis get a game. Hope he plays well. I think we all, Adam, also, you're in agreement. Sardis back in. Good to see how he goes with so much time to work on his craft in the twos. Yeah. I mean, I kind of do feel a little bit sorry for him because everyone's eyes is going to be on him like a magnifying glass. There is a lot of pressure on him to, make this is his chance, basically. He's essentially auditioning for a spot on our list. I'm sure they probably think he is not going to be on our list next year, but tell me this, chat, what if he plays exceptional for the next, how many games we've got? 7. Let's say he keeps his spot and we put Caldwell on ice, which Moby, I agree. What if he's exceptional? And what if there is something there to work with? So whilst I think it's a lot of pressure, I think we'll see what he's made of, and that's brilliant, and I love it. Oh, Brett, yes, I know your favourite Guelphy. Well, what he's got to do, he's got to hope that Oscar Smart doesn't take his chances. That's what he's got to hope because, tell you what, I reckon I'm so excited about seeing Oscar. I was actually quite shocked to see he's 180 centimetres. Gosh, he looks smaller than that. But he's strong. He looks like he's a strong 175, but he is 180. He's got some height to him. But what we love, dare I say, he's got a bit of razzle-dazzle. He has flair. He is aerially really great. I don't know how many of you have seen any of his highlights, but a lot of his highlights involve some good marks, and that's probably what he brings, and Kako stays more to the ground rather than goes to air. So maybe Oscar can give us some airtime. Who knows? Hello, Ian. How are you, Amy?
I was on mute, sorry. Good, Fiona. How are you doing?
Good start. I'm pretty good. I'm so glad to see you here tonight. You all rugged up. You're not in the garage, so hopefully you're a little warmer in your study or wherever you are.
No, just on the kitchen table, and I haven't got the biggest house, which is why I end up recording in the garage more often than not.
Right.
But I'm flying solo as a parent tonight, so I do have the run of the house, which I don't usually have. So
yeah, look,
I'm
we're all
inside.
noticing. You're out of the paddock room. Very good, Richard. Well done. How is I know we all know you're a teacher. How's school holidays going?
Oh, it's been a challenge because I've been sick and the two boys have been sick, so it's been a lot of sitting around on the couch watching a lot of bad children's TV. It's pretty much been my week. I've seen all of Octonauts. I don't know how many people in chat have heard of that, but my boys love that, and a lot of Thomas and a lot of Blue, not as much Bluey as you think. But yeah, so that's been my first few days. We're all
well, are you at the end of it? Are you on the way past the worst of it? Okay, good, great.
Yeah, I'm basically over it now. Although you can tell my voice a little bit. I'm just sitting here because Jono is running late tonight. He's got a work thing for our recording.
Your loss is our gain. So wonderful, Jono. If you could, not that you're listening, but if you could run late most Thursday nights, that would be wonderful. All right, well, let's get as much out of Humie as we can. What is your first gut instinct after seeing the changes? What do you love? What do you hate?
I like them. I'm interested to see that they've brought Redmond in and haven't dropped a defender. I think that's probably the most interesting selection. You'd have Smart and Gresham as like for like, Caldwell and Sardis, not next to, you know what I mean, like in terms of like for like roles, like for like.
Yeah.
But they haven't dropped a defender for Redmond, which I don't think any of the defenders really deserve to be dropped. I thought there might have been a chance to leave a Blackiston or a Laverty out this week because the Tigers forward line isn't overly tall. We're not dealing with the same quality of forward line that we have in the last couple of games. I thought there might have been an opportunity to do that. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that shuffles everyone around, unless one of the defenders goes to be the sub, whether that's a Johnson or even so. I think I've seen some people suggest Pryor as a sub, but yeah. So yeah,
is there a chance that the Tigers play, for example, Kozichki forward, seeing that they've brought back him?
Yeah, you would think so, given what he plays and the fact that, for all the issues that the Tigers have got, their defense, the names in their defense are pretty solid. They're pretty solid names, pretty solid defenders. They're not overly lacking for height. They're probably, Miller's probably the only really tall defender that they have. And so if you're thinking about our forward line, you're hoping that you're going to get a mismatch on either one of Wright or May. They'll have a bit of a height advantage. But yeah, I think there's no change to the standard. There's no one that really survived. Maybe Hobbs, unless he ends up being the sub.
So say, does Redmond have the ability to play the Perkins role? I mean, Perkins was playing in defence for a very short stint. They've been trying him everywhere to get him involved. Does Redmond, instead of shuffling and kind of taking less synergy away from a backline that's, we could say, has kind of been set for the last 3-4 weeks. Should we just purely tell Redmond that he's going to do that sweeping role, or, do what Perkins did, or play a bit more offensively?
Well, that's the advantage that Redmond's got coming back into this side with the players that we've got, Laverty and Blackiston and Ridley to play the taller roles, which, Redmond has at times had to play taller. You probably won't have to on a night like tonight, or in a game coming up like this. So you probably can use him as more of an offensive weapon. And I think what's happened with the Tigers over the last few weeks is that they've done pretty well in contested areas of the game. Yeah. But once it's got outside, they've been torn apart. And Redmond's someone who can take advantage of that for us. So if we can make use of him to do that, I think that's where we would get the most value out of him.
Yeah, and we all know that it was at the off season that he was training with the midfield group. Now, I know essentially everyone hated that, but it's times like now where it comes into to come back and help us, because he's had a lot of experience in that area. He's been training with a lot of the guys, and so this is times when, they talk about every player has to be versatile for when they're needed. Well, maybe this is one of those times, and we know he can kick a goal. We know, have we played him on the wing before? Because in my head, he's a good runner. He's good offensively, but maybe defensively he'd get caught out on the wing. Is that what do you reckon?
The wing's an interesting position, right? Because it's very easy to get lost on the wing and not be involved in the play. Week like we've seen say Xavier Dersma, like he'll have games where he is, involved in everything and, covering back, going forward. And then other games he just won't get involved. And that's not necessarily about him personally. That's just about the way the game plays out with, where the ball goes and how the ball moves there. And good wingers aren't getting sucked in when they shouldn't be. They're holding their width. So I think Redmond is someone that we have wanted to be that sort of, he's not overly quick, but he's a 70-meter player, the sort of player that can run 20 and kick 50. And we sort of wanted those players off the halfback there. And I think, you got Dersma, you got Clark got to push back up to the wing last week, which was good to see. Lawal sort of played wing half forward. I think we've got a decent thing developing there. And I think if you introduce Redmond into that, where arguably you probably want, round one next year, your wings to be Dersma, Clark, and then someone else sort of playing that half and half role. I think you'd want to get game time into that rather than trying to force Redmond into that role. Yeah.
I agree. I think Redmond is kind of the perfect plug player, to be quite honest, because whilst, we all can think he can be a bit more versatile in terms – we can think he can be more defensively accountable, no doubt. But I think he's probably the player who you can say if you need to go stand at half forward, he's probably really one of the ones who is capable of doing that. The other thing is potentially, do we start him as the sub? I doubt he's ever started as a sub in his life, but given that he's a versatile player.
He seems the type of person that would punch the person who came and told him he was going to be the sub. I can't imagine he'd take that well, especially given his return was delayed a week. So, I know. You'd be a brave man to tell Mason he's going to be the sub.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I know Jono put up that stat which I shared, and he put it up well before Channel 7 did. So you can tell Jono that I said that Channel 7 is stealing his content. But he put up the fact that we now have our 12th debutante, and I believe we only need one more to reach or surpass 1971 or something Fitzroy team that did that. So,
so it was so there's in the AFL area the most is 13 by Fitzroy in 1991. And look, let's be honest, we probably don't want to be emulating 1991 Fitzroy.
That's true.
Banter might come to a forced end in 5 years.
Oh boy!
But I think the early 1970s was the last time Essendon had that many, and that's when you have you have players who can sort of just come off the street and play a game. It's a bit of a different environment, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So, do you think? My question for you is: do you think we will hit that 13 mark? And if you do, which player is going to be the 13th?
I was a little bit curious that it was Smart that was selected to be the next debutant, given we know what happened just before the Fremantle game with I think it was a Dersma that was seconds away from being pulled, and then, that nearly happened last week as well. But they had Unwin as the person ready to go. So either Smart's leapfrogged Unwin, or they also think Unwin's really close, and we know with our small forward brigade that's certainly not set in stone. So he's another that might get a look in. I know everyone's keen on McMahon, but the only way I think McMahon's getting a game is if we get an injury to one of Caddy, May, or Wright, and we certainly don't want that to happen at all.
I think it's in May's hands. He's just performing so beautifully. And who would have thought? I know before May got selected, the question was, everyone thought McMahon was ahead of him to get selected in the beginning. So May has done what Sardis should be doing now and saying, no, I am performing so well that you cannot drop me. My only motivation to see McMahon is that he is on that 6-month contract. So just like with Oscar, who I'm so glad we're going to see, we need to see if these guys get an extension or not, or if we drop them. And I just think dropping, that's just the nature of the beast. I get it. But dropping McMahon after not having played or tried him, I don't know, that just feels horrible to me. But I know that's the name of the game.
Well, he was the last of those players. He's the last player on the list. So sometimes when you're the last one on, you're the first one off. I mean, it might depend on what Langford decides. I mean, that, as much as they're talking about, players being disgruntled and the like, his was named. And, if you'd asked anyone at the start of the year, would you trade Langford at the end of the year? I think we all would have said absolutely no way. I think we've got to this point. I think we've all got to this point of the season, and the suggestion that Langford could be traded is not beyond the realms of possibility here. I don't know what your thoughts were when you first heard about it.
Yeah, I think I definitely would feel more comfortable. As you say, like at the start of the season, if someone said potentially to trade Langford, I would have said, hell no, absolutely not. But seeing the maturity and how and it's also got to do with Wright finding that form again and excelling on in his leadership. That is the part of his game that he has brought to himself. Well, that's where he's grown this year, in his leadership. And I spoke about it in my review. He's unafraid to grab another player, and not necessarily a little bebe player like a Durham, and say, you needed to lower your eyes, I was in space. And I have seen it since he got back in, but I am seeing it more and more, him being confident outwardly to show that leadership. And I think that was one of my motivations for Langford. He's a more experienced player. It's a baby forward line. We need the leadership and cooler heads down there. But Wright has just come leaps and bounds in that area. And so I don't necessarily feel that it's like it would be a huge detriment to our team if he decided to go, or if we wanted to move him on.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we've tended to hold on to players.
Yes.
And, as much as I probably like Langford earlier than a lot of people, and I've liked him in roles that he's played before he was a forward. I really liked him as a wing when he was sort of playing that role around 2020. I thought he was doing a really good job in that role. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's if you go back to the start of the Brad Scott era, they were struggling to fit him in. He was going to play halfback. So
yes, oh my God, who could forget? He trained the off-season in the back line.
I think the first game that year he played halfback, and then the next game, I think was it Wright had gone down in 2020.
Yeah.
And then I think someone else went down, and that's why Langford went forward and I think kicked 5 goals.
Stringer might have been Stringer who went down too.
That sounds about right. So I think so we obviously got a lot out of that from that, but yeah, I mean, again, he's someone who's got value as a goal kicker, especially if your team's up and about, and you're not getting a top 5 pick for him, but you're certainly not getting steak knives for him either. And again, if we're looking to shift players around, that's an option there. I think that he's probably the one that we'd be happiest to let go that would have the most value.
But do you agree? do you agree that's because of how brilliantly the forward line is and how surprisingly the forward line is performing? Because if
Well,
they
that's it.
weren't
Like,
going as well as they are you still as confident to let him go?
yeah, I think. Yeah, well, the other problem is that we've signed so many of these guys. Like we've got so many key forwards on our list that are locked in for next year. So you're carrying a lot in that space when there are arguably other areas that we need better players in. Like we need better halfbacks. We need, more. We've got heaps of small forwards on our list, but we don't have a whole lot of good small forwards on our list based on current form or exposed form.
Yep.
So we need more
Yep.
of that. We need that sort of burst midfielder. So there's bigger holes in the list, and it's sort of like the conversation, people have been having about Nick Bryan for a couple of years now, where you've got a Sam Draper and then you've got a quality ruckman in Nick Bryan behind him. How much point is it having a quality ruck playing VFL? It's nice to have backups, but if you can fill a greater list need or a greater best 23 need by trading something that you have surplus in, that makes the team better. And so that's probably where I'm at that's probably where I've come to for Langford.
Well, here's a question. Hey, splendid Ferru, would you be happier, if that's the right word, to let Parrish or Langford go? This is a fascinating question because these are probably the two who would gain us the most currency, provided that the teams they go to feel like they can get their bodies right, which, given our Joe Danaher is the one that comes to mind for me. Injured always at Essendon. Brisbane didn't even blink at that and then gets him right. He barely misses a game there.
Yep.
So they probably, other teams are looking at us and thinking, yeah, we can get these guys right easily. So who would you be happier to let go?
I think happy to let Langford go because it's an area we've got greater depth in, and he's probably got greater value. I think first clearance midfielders that don't have a whole lot of other strings to their bow. And I mean, Parrish's one wood is brilliant. Like his ability to win the ball, win the clearance. He's top 3 in the comp. So he's got his best quality, his best skill is probably better than Langford's best skill. But you're seeing teams like Hawthorn, not really that fussed about signing a James Worpel. And you're seeing teams, and Parrish is better than Worpel. But I don't think you get a whole lot for him. I don't think at this stage we have a player. Elijah Sardis is probably the player that people would say, plays the Parrish role. But we haven't seen the exposed form of Sardis anywhere near the level of what Parrish can do. What we saw this year from Parrish, as short as it was, there's enough there to know why, he's such an important part of our team. And so I think Langford, you'd be more happy to go just because you've got that depth in the area that you're losing Langford in compared to if you lost Parrish, then maybe you do, we'd have to go get a James Worpel or something like that. And I'd rather not do that.
I'm going to challenge you on the Parrish thing, not personally my opinion, but on the fan cams, and I've seen a lot of conjecture about Parrish on socials since he came in and then last week having Durham back in, right? People are adamant that Parrish disrupts the balance of our midfield. Discuss.
No, I disagree with that.
Okay, tell me why.
I fundamentally disagree.
Okay, listen up, everyone. Why?
We don't have the first touch. Like Durham is a great burst from clearance play, but he's not a first touch winner. Caldwell's not a first touch winner. Zach Merritt is the second touch or the one moving away from the clearance. Nick Martin.
Okay, so describe for the amateurs who don't necessarily understand your level of statistical analysis.
Don't talk me this much. Don't talk me this much up.
When you say first touch player, do you mean like literally as soon as a ball is in a scruff or in a contest or at a stoppage, who literally gets their hands on the ball? The stat sounds as it is. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, so it's the first player gets the first touch off the ruck contest or gets the ball off the ground.
Okay.
We do not have anyone on our list who can do that better than Darcy, and that's a powerful tool. And like with any players with with flaws, and Darcy's got his flaws. If you build the right team around them to enhance their strengths, we can do that. And I do not think, how much better would Durham be if he didn't have to always win the ball and then burst from stoppage?
Very true.
He could be the person receiving from Darcy. So Darcy gets the ball out to Durham, who's already in running position, and so he can just go. Whereas instead of running, grabbing the ball, getting up, and then bursting through, I think that creates a whole heap of opportunities there.
So what about this call, which is also people also came at me with? Parrish finds the footy, so essentially gets the first touch, but his distribution is shit. Personally, I'm going to say something before you do. I think it's a little bit overblown for me how bad his disposal is. You're the stat king. I don't know what the stats say. I don't personally. My eye test doesn't see him as bad as what I notice. For example, I won't bring him into it because everyone's going to pile on top of him. I was going to say how Andy McGrath just bombs the ball or how Sardis miskicks. I don't notice Parrish's shit distribution as much. So that feels like it's a bit overblown to me. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's...
or what do the stats say? Do the stats back that up?
We've had... I haven't got the stats in front of me, but it's a question that we've been asked a fair bit. And every time you look at the numbers, his numbers match up pretty well in terms of efficiency for other players of his role. So that's, he's not outstanding, but he's not beyond terrible.
Yeah, and you've got to compare him to, as you guys do brilliantly, what I love that you guys do in the pod. And if you haven't listened to Don the Stat Pod, everyone should absolutely. But what I love you guys do is you don't compare oranges with apples. You compare apples with apples. So you tell us who of the same ilk, who's playing the same position, similar-ish position at different clubs. How are their stats matching up against said player? And that's what makes sense to my brain, and that's what everybody should be judging him on. Because you might see that his distribution might be a bit inefficient, but is the same kind of player having that kind of output as well? Is it just the nature of their position being high pressure? Their possession, I would essentially assume, is always quite pressured. So naturally, that's going to bring on probably not perfect distribution.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, sorry, Fiona, I'm going to have to drop you there.
No problems at all.
My own show to record. Jono has messaged me and said he's going to be ready in a few minutes, so I need to get ready for that. But thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining us.
It's always great to chat with you. Thanks to everyone in the chat as well.
When is it going to be out? When can we listen?
Should be around 9:00 tonight. We've recorded a fair bit of it already. We just got the last bits to do. But
beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, enjoy everyone.
Thank you, Humi.
See you next time.
Talk to you soon. Bye. How great was that? Having a little cameo from Humi. All right, I'm popping the link in the chat. If anyone else wants to jump on, I will go. Let's go through the chat and what you're all thinking at the moment. Moby, you have my entire heart, my friend. Thank you very much for your contribution. It means absolutely everything to me. Oh, unfortunately, Carlton have scored a goal. Okay. How are we going with that game, everybody? They've scored the goal, have they? Righto. Hey, Chris, how are you? I've had a okay week. Pink Lady over Granny Smith. I don't know where this conversation has started, ended, or is going, but I too am a Pink Lady, a woman. Clive, how are you, Clive? I can't wait to see Smart do his thing. Me too, me too. Can't wait to see he and Kako together. Kako, I'm sure, is absolutely loving the idea of having Smart as a partner. Maybe a little less work for him to do, which is wonderful. Yeah, I like this. I like this, Dave. Durham disrupts the contest. Parrish clears the contest. Yeah. Yep. I think this is true. Darcy forgets how good everyone forgets how good Darcy can be Anzac Day. I agree. I just need him to be out there more. That's all. I just need him to be out there more. Bomber Fanatic Pete. How are you, Pete? Why no Guelphy? I think, what do we think the coaches want from Guelphy? More score involvements, more hitting the scoreboard more himself whilst doing his defensive role on a dangerous defender? What do we think the coaches want to see out of him before they bring him back in? Or do we just don't think he's in our future, for example? Richard, interesting you say that. When I say the forward line is going okay, I mean for where they are at in their evolution and in their age and in their symmetry and in their connectivity. I think the forward line is going pretty damn well. And I'm not measuring that on the number of goals. I'm measuring that on, as I said, in the context of how young they are and kind of, how I can see, and also in terms of the delivery to them. I'm also measuring on that. So I'm keeping everything in context, basically. Ooh, who was the last player we traded that didn't want to go? That's a good question. I mean, Zerk Thatcher was the last traded player, but he wanted to go home. Who can tell me this? Anybody? Does anybody know? Jeremy, McMahon will get a game for sure. Okay. Hopefully. I just really want to see what he's got, if he's got. But Humie was right. We now have quite a few forwards on the list. Who else thinks that we signed Edwards too quickly? Because I do. I get why we had to. He didn't have a chance to actually show his attributes this year. But was there an opportunity to rookie him or, I don't know, get him another way? I just think we signed him too quickly, especially if we play him and he performs really well. Hey, Scotty, how are you? Yes. How are they going, actually? I shouldn't bag them until we know how they're going. Yeah, Andrew, again, before I laugh, how are they going? I really don't want to. Hey, G-Pat, good to see you back. Thank you for your contribution. Read the eye test. McGrath can't even read the first line. Yeah, I didn't want to welcome the pile on to poor old Andy. Gosh, the conversation around him has been fascinating in recent weeks. Half of the supporters believe he's good value because he's locking down a defender. But half of the supporters think that that's not enough. You need to be locking down a good defender and also running off halfback, distributing well, and all the other good stuff. Where do you guys sit? Francis to Sydney. Ooh, snazzy shoes. How are you? Yeah, that's a good call. Very good. I think that was one. I don't think he necessarily wanted to go. So, yeah, that's probably a good one. In the end, I think he was resigned to the fact that we weren't going to keep him and there was a taker in Sydney. So, yeah, very good memory by you. Well done. Fantasia, I believe, wanted to go. Was he out of contract? And it was a good deal for both, I think. Oh, is he a rookie already? Okay, we'll scrap that. Talking about Edwards. I don't know. I just think it was too quick. I know he had a great game, but we've been here before. I remember players who had, wasn't it Lachlan Dalgleish who had a great first game or something? Or a great first preseason, absolutely killed it in preseason game. I don't know. I'm a bit burned. Oh, okay. Almost quarter time, Carlton losing 15-34. Lucky to that. Oh, I was going to say, that's nothing. Hey, solution. Only psychopaths prefer Granny Smiths. Granny Smith is famously the baking apple. When you want to bake something, they are the sweetest apple. When you reduce them, and particularly with, brown sugar and a bit of cinnamon, when you reduce them, they go really, really sweet and delicious. All right, Shaky Snake. People are harsh on Edward signing. He was our best pressure forward in those early games, and McMahon has the benefit of recency bias. Absolutely. I agree. I really do agree with you. I don't know. I know why we had to sign him, and he was impressive. Don't get me wrong. I just, maybe it's my recency bias. I'm open to that being the reason. Dennis, you like Andy McGrath, but you're a bit weird. You know what? Weird is great. I'm weird too. You non-weirdos are the weirdos to me. How's that? You can quote me on that. McGrath is a lockdown defender. He comes with too high expectations as number 1 draft pick and now vice captain. Small forwards hate playing on him. Yeah, that's a good reminder. But you know what? Maybe I can solve all the problems. Next year, new vice captain. Problem solved. Half the problem solved. Less pressure. Give it to Roberts. There's my controversial take. Ha! This is very true. I can't argue with this one, Richard. At least McGrath can stay on the field. Cannot argue with that. D'Ambrosio didn't particularly want to go, but was forced by lack of opportunity. Yes, that's a good call, actually. He wanted to stay, would have stayed had we given him that second year, which I do believe was on the table, but controversial. I can't really go into that, to be quite honest, the specifics, but that's probably a good one, Bomber Boy. Yeah, he would have stayed had we came to the table. So, yeah, good one. Very good. Oh, Dave, I don't know if we can be friends. Granny Smith is the apple you bake with, not crunch on. Weird. But you know I like the weirdos. Well done. Probably allows him to do, this is on Edwards, everyone. Yeah, great. Good point. Good point. I mean, you can't really put your best foot forward when you're, rehabbing from an ACL or anything. So you're right. This is true, Chris, but I am told that he is exceptional off the field. I am told he's the last one sitting down with the young boys in a circle. He's the last one out with the notebook in terms of behind the scenes. So perhaps he's just not that on-field leader that I'm telling you all. Whoever's going to the game on Saturday night, you just watch 2 meter Peter behind the ball, after the ball, in between goals. You just watch. And you come back to me and tell me how many times you see him showing leadership on the ground. Chef's kiss. But yeah, I'm told Andy's very good behind closed doors. Oh, Mark Pitternet. Thanks, Pete. Francis wanted to go fresh start. Possibly, yeah. Stringer was probably similar. Yes, you're right, Scott. Well done. Yep, he would have stayed again had we come to the table with what he wanted. Yeah, very true. Quarter time score, Brisbane, what do we got? Brisbane 34, Carlton 21. Yes, I'm at this game. Of course you are, Jade. Of course you are. Why are you there? Just for the demise of Carlton, or are you just spending the night out? That's hilarious. Of course you're there. All right, let's talk a bit more about the game before I get all your your selections for the cookie pack in. Where are we going to win it? How are we going to win it? And will we win it? Are we going to drop under Brad Scott? May I remind you all, we have not dropped a game that we should win. They may not have been pretty. None of them have been pretty, actually. Every game we've played against Kangaroos and West Coast and Richmond have all been very close and an awful, awful game in itself and scary. And we've pushed the line of how close for comfort they were. But do you think that's going to happen again Saturday night? What do we think? Oh, I'm more than happy to read this comment out, Splendid. Wright is an absolute success story this year. His footy completely fell off a cliff last year and he's been really consistent. Going forward, could we use him as a main ruck and leave May forward? I wouldn't want to do that. I think he's too much of a weapon in the forward line and he's so selfless that he is more than happy to be the decoy and let Caddy and May shine. So I wouldn't, but I do think that getting around the ground a bit more in the ruck, I think that gives him a new lease on life. I think he knows he takes ownership of that now. I actually want to see him a game where he doesn't have to do that. I want to see, for example, Blackiston and Goldstein do the ruck and see what he's like just in the forward line when he's there full time. Just for something different, And this is the year to experiment, so let's do it. Shaky Snake, with Sardis in against the worst clearance team in the AFL, it'll be one from the centre. Yeah, I mean, this has got Sardis to excel written all over it this game. If he cannot put his best foot forward on Saturday night, that's not good for him. It's not good for currency of trading him out. It's not good. But we will know one way or another. So that's something it's good for. It will tell us where we stand with him. So whilst I know that sounds like a lot of pressure for him, I hope he's looking at it as a really exciting opportunity. I love my footy. Doesn't matter what teams. 3 games this week. Tonight, Saturday, Western Bulldogs and Adelaide, and our game. Am I crazy? Maybe. No, you're not crazy because I watch every game, mostly when I'm not out. And if I'm out, I'm checking scores. So you're just physically going to the game, which I think is wonderful too. And you know what? Marvel games, I have no hesitation. I will go to any Marvel game. You know how much I love that place. Saturday night is the great unknown. Richmond will throw everything at us early. If I was the coach, that's what I'd be doing. Yeah. I don't think they particularly enjoyed having a very, very, a 70-plus point loss against Geelong last week. So I think they will most definitely feel like they want to bounce back in that regard. And essentially, they're young, and so they want to catch you off guard with their pressure. And that's not, I don't want to say that's their one weapon, but that's, they really force you into turnover when they're doing well with their pressure, but it's not a consistent style of football when you have a lot of young, inexperienced players and when you don't have a lot of synergy in your team. So, but my boy, I think Martin and Merritt will have a field day on Saturday night and one of our tall forwards will dominate. Yeah. Splendid. I'm really worried about their kids. Some of them are really good. I think we'll win, but I'm not putting my house on it. Yeah, no friggin' way. Absolutely not. No way. All right, let's do it. I've got another 10 minutes in me, and then, all right, who's gonna be the prototype? Who's gonna get the first selection right to win the cookie pack? For anybody new here tonight, let me show you what you can win. You don't have to have it as an Essendon cookie pack. You could have it if you like rugby, if you like another team, you can have that as that. Oh, okay, this has completely put me out of the picture. No. Literally no idea. Oh, there we are. So you win. You will win this cookie pack. Posted to you. Can post it anywhere you like. These are the rules. You have to give me. Oh, here we go. You have to give me. You have to pick A. Who's going to be the first goal kicker and who's going to be the first point kicker across the ground. Or B, you can choose to pick the first, the most tackler, the highest tackle count at the end of the night, I'm not getting this right. Okay, option 1, first goal kicker, first point kicker. Thank you, Moby. This is what you do. This is your first option to win the cookies. You need to get the first goal. And Moby here, you've gone very, very, very easy. We have seen in this competition, you have to go a bit left of centre with your picks. And it doesn't have to be just Essendon. You could pick from any Richmond player you think might kick a point or goal first too. So this is your first option. The second option is you need to give me the most disposal getter, the most tackle getter, and the overall winner. So can somebody pick that option so I can show everybody and make it a bit clearer? Bruce, I've got you right as your first point. Now I need your first goal, please. So if you're going to go with the first option, first point, first goal, if you're going to go with the second option, if you think you can win the second option better, you need to give me the most disposals, most tackles, and the overall winner. So Essendon or Richmond. And again, it's on the ground. So do you think a Richmond player is going to end the night with the most disposals? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Hopper? All right, Dennis, thank you. You are the prototype tonight. This is what I need if you're going the second option. Durham is going to be the most tackles, Merritt the most disposals, and Bombers win. All right, you guys think about it. Get your selections in. All right, Shaky Snake, perfect. Got you. Oh, stop. DK 2000. This means the world. Thank you. Whilst you're having a think and a pick, let's chat to another legend of mine. Oh, I've stuffed up all. Oh, here we go. How are you, Solution?
Yeah, I don't feel well. I think I'm hallucinating.
You're back. Is that why?
Perkins dropped.
Oh, yes, I know.
Did somebody spike my dinner with death cap mushrooms or some other kind of mushroom?
No, I think she's behind bars, so you're safe. You're safe in that regard.
Well, why? Look, I'm stunned. Like
You're
Perkins
stunned.
dropped after.
I've lost my bloody mic here. Keep going, yeah.
So you've lost your bundle.
I've lost my
You're as
complete
stunned
bundle.
as I am.
Jesus. Yeah, no, he's finally dropped, but I don't want to paint that in a negative way, Solution. I want him to see that as a wonderful opportunity for him to go and beat up on some lesser VFL players. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's well overdue. But my nomination for the goal of the week or the first goal, can I just give it to you live? It's Gresham. I think he'll score the first goal.
Well, he's been dropped too, so.
What? No.
Are you being serious? Are you having me on?
Perkins and Gresham is dropped. And Sardis, they still don't bring Sardis in. Like, I cannot believe what's going on.
All right, now you're having me on. Now I feel like I'm hallucinating.
I just feel like we've been asking for these 3 specific changes all season, at least I have. And
yeah.
The question I've got is, what are the odds Sardis comes on for 5 minutes as the sub and then gets dropped the following week?
Oh, you reckon he's going to be made sub?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know. If Scott is true to form. But Shaky Snake's telling me I'm not hallucinating. So that's yeah. Anyway, I jumped on really quickly to say I can't believe Perkins has finally been dropped.
So do we, as Moby said initially, do we finally have some selection? Well, I won't say finally because that's harsh, but do we have some selection integrity this week?
Look, in all seriousness, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and I'm sure Scott had his reasons. But I agree with you. I think it's almost cruel to leave Archie in the team at this point, and unfair to him. He needs to go back and find the footy. Moby is a legend, by the way. He's a long-term Windsock listener, so shout out, Moby.
He is an absolute OG and a favourite of mine. I reckon he's just about overtaken you as a favourite in my heart. So you better up your game.
All right, I'll just write this down. So how are you feeling? Are you going to the game?
At this stage, I am not. I have a couple of late deliveries on Saturday. So if it was a Marvel game, I'll be there because it's nice and easy. Park, beautiful, easy. But MCG parking and getting there is a bit more difficult. And obviously I have to be back here to chat to all of you legends on the fan cam. So, logistically, probably not. What about you? Are you heading?
I may get there. Yes.
Very good.
I don't like the Richmond fans. I think they're up there with Collingwood. You need to clutch your bags close and make sure your wallet's in your front pocket. For those people that still carry wallets, but I think.
But don't worry, they don't turn up now. They've won their 3 premierships. They don't even go to the footy anymore.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. But yeah, I think we'll win. And this might be our last win of the season. What do you reckon?
I think you could be right. I think this could be. Although, have you checked in on how Carlton are going yet? Could we snag a win against them despite being team draft pick? Are you willing to give up a draft pick spot if we could beat Carlton? That's a good question. Chat, I'm asking you this question too.
Scotty's having a go at Scotty from lunchtime catch up is I'll just how's that, Scotty? I know you like my body. There you go, mate.
That's better.
Yeah.
Well done, Scotty. That was funny.
I'd rather lose every game at this stage, and
I get it, but it's Carlton. Wouldn't that be nice?
Even, I know what you mean. But and Richard O'Connor makes a good point. If we did beat Carlton, that would be the coach killer. Like Voss might get sacked. We don't want that. I mean, we know the Collingwood death threat. The death threat was, you must stay coach. Do not resign. No one outside of Carlton supporters wants him to finish up. So, yeah, I don't think there's any win that I'd take at this point. Even
if it meant Carlton, but wouldn't that be magical?
It would be for the moment. It would be that dopamine hit. But honestly, the club direction is so clear. We're just the way Rose is managing this, medical issues aside and the sports science stuff aside, parking that, I'm 100% convinced that we've got the right strategy, and it's all about draft. It's all about young players. So,
but this is what I think too. I reckon Shaky Snake nails it.
Yeah, I get that point also, and they get to sing the song and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd probably take the pick.
But this is so, oh God, you know, especially this year, we were so freaking close as well. If we just had one bloody defender, and you know, I know we've gone backwards in how good our how good our defenders are going with, you know, well, Redmond's back now, but yeah.
How much pleasure will we get? Like, project forward 12 months, 24 months. How much more pleasure will we get when we're entrenched in the 8? Hopefully, moving towards, you know, top 4 in the following couple of seasons, and Carlton are languishing and have no draft hand at all because they traded their first pick away, and then Tasmania come on the scene, and they've got all their best players are over 30, and they're trying to trade out players. I saw a graphic from some media outlet that was talking about getting all these, you know, trading Curnow and all these different players to get multiple first-round picks.
Trade Curnow. We'll take Curnow, but he's playing his shit, so we'll only give you one first-rounder for him. Easily.
Yeah. It was almost like... Yeah, it was like it was 2022 or something like that, the way they were rating.
They lost their minds. Trade Curnow. Have they lost their absolute fucking minds? You do not trade a player like Curnow.
Agreed. But anyway, I'll take a loss. I'm not interested in the little dopamine hits. I'm interested in sustainable success. But it would feel good.
Right, fine. If we have to be responsible adults, fine. I guess.
It's a little bit like that. Just put down the red cordial, and just
change to decaf.
Be patient. That's right.
All right, fine. We've been told off, chat. All right. Now give me. Come on, enter the competition. Who you got? First point, first goal, or do you want to go most disposals, most tackles, and final winner? Hey, Scotty, lunchtime catch up podcast. You didn't tell me Essendon or Richmond. Just to add, I know you picked that. You picked that equation, that option. You just need to tell me Richmond or Essendon as the overall winner. Who you got? Which you want to take, the first goal scorer, first point scorer solution, or option 2?
I'll take first point, Caddy. First goal, Kako. Just in keeping with the theme that it's all about the youngsters.
Okay. All right. I know you don't know any other players aside from Essendon, outside of Essendon, so I won't tell you to think outside the box and actually consider the entire ground. This is where we've gone wrong. A lot of the selections that you guys are picking are purely Essendon. Just remember that it's the overall disposal getter, overall tackle getter, overall goal scorer. So it's not just Essendon. So thanks, Scotty. Gotcha, Essendon. Yep. But I know you don't know any Richmond or other players. So
no, they're all NPCs to me.
Cads and Kako, we will make it. Good luck.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We love that you're here. Dennis, before you go, Dennis believes, you know, you got to tie that windsock down. Is it rooted to the ground there?
Well,
Unlike my mic here, which is literally just flipped off the desk, and I'm literally holding it.
yeah, I do like to be tied down, but only when Kevin Sheedy does it, and only if he's wearing his leather.
Okay. Make of that what you will. And on that note, I will let you go, and I'll see you maybe on the fan cams.
Peace out, everyone. Go Bombers.
See you, legend. Bye. Well, that was a nice little quick team selection night for us. A couple of OG legends. Yeah. I'm reading. Okay, lots of you got your picks in. Well done. I will go through them all. This is interesting where, Moby, you've got Zach Johnson as the rising star this week. And I did see who else, somebody else had another Zach Johnson suggestion. I want to give you credit before I say it. Oh, Frederick. How are you, Frederick? Zach Johnson to half forward. Interesting. If we have to get Redmond down there, push Zach Johnson up. He's the type of guy who could probably do very well down there. And we know he's a brilliant ball user, so don't mind that. And maybe we can upset some more Geelong supporters if Zach Johnson gets the Rising Star nomination. They weren't very happy with the Kako nomination. But as I said in the forecast, Geelong fans, you cannot complain about anything. Alrighty, I'm giving you guys the rest of the evening off to go and watch Carlton and Brisbane. If you like, I will be joining Chris on the Big Footy Tigercast podcast channel over on his channel to discuss our game. So if you want to join, I believe that's a live show too. So if you want to join me over there with him, we'll be going through the game matchups in more detail. So feel free to. Otherwise, I will see you back here Saturday night. I think I have the fan cam scheduled for 10:45, so we should be right for that time, no later. So take care, everyone. Have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you Saturday night. Go Bombers.